Hi everyone, this is Dan, and this is Marvel Superheroes Secret Wars number 10. This is, here we go. We got 2 more issues after this, and we are done with Secret Wars. Plan to get it finished before the end of the year, so stay tuned for 2 more videos before New Year's right here. So anyway, this is Death to the Beyonder. So this issue right here is very good in my opinion, and I'll explain why. So this is written by Jim Shooter, penciled by Mike Zeck, the same group of people. So we open up and here's a big flashing light. It's the world ship of Galactus. He has just transported himself up there and is basically getting ready to absorb and eat his own world in order to gain power to destroy all the Marvel superheroes. And Reed Richards is basically telling everybody, you guys are screwed, we're all going to die. Very, very negative. We got a pretty cool X-ray panel right here. More galactic, crazy space scenes. And then the turnaround here is all the energy gets redirected. Galactus gets completely drained and it gets sent to Doombase. And at that point, all of our heroes look out and they're thinking, "Oh boy, this isn't exactly what we wanted." So Captain Marvel goes flashing there at the speed of light to go figure out what happened. And it turns out Doom has used Claw and essentially cannibalized him into a energy diversion sort of device. And she's able to kind of communicate with the rest of the crew to tell him what's going on. When Doom awakens from having used this device, he finds that he has essentially godlike powers. So he's able to warp all of time and space, see through everything, and he's also able to read the minds of other beings. So he's able to read all of the villains' minds. Essentially, these panels kind of, what Jim Shooter is trying to show is that Doom is now almost like a god, essentially, which helps build up for the next event that happens with Doom. So he discovers Captain Marvel's there, the mind link gets severed, all of our heroes freak out and they head over to Doombase to try to save her. You got a pretty cool scene here where Magneto shows off his powers and is able to use one of these busted ships to carry all of the heroes together at once. This kind of sets up the premise for an interesting back and forth between Captain America and Wolverine here. And again, as I've said in previous reviews, I'm not really sure if Jim Shooter really likes the X-Men. Maybe he's in disagreement with some of Claremont's decision makings with the series right here. I will say though that this is one of the more believable conflicts that he kind of presents here between Magneto, Captain America, and Wolverine. And there's a lot of really cool and interesting sort of points back and forth here, which is mainly Wolverine pointing out that to Captain America that, hey, you're Mr. Boy Scout, you'll help all of any American or anybody in trouble, but you won't stand up for mutants when they're getting oppressed. This is why the X-Men exist, and this is also why Magneto exists, which is sort of he's the extremist version of it, right? And Captain America stands his ground and says, hey, it doesn't matter for what reason, terrorism and murder, is not justified. And and Wolverine makes a pretty funny. This is actually a really good takeaway right here. Terrorists, that's what the big army calls the little army. It's actually a pretty interesting point back and forth here. So again, I think Shooter kind of takes a sledgehammer to the X-Men and the mutants throughout Secret Wars, but he does make some good points here and there on their side. So he doesn't go all the way. In terms of this, which is good because he would be kind of sabotaging his best comic book if he did. We go back to Doom, and Doom is kind of doing a little bit of Hamlet here, which is what Jim Shooter really writes Doom best, when Doom is kind of monologuing to himself, trying to figure out where he wants to go. And it turns out Doom, is got really... got some big dick energy, so he decides that he's going to go face off against the Beyonder with his new godlike powers and defeat him once and for all and become the most powerful, period. The heroes break into Doombase. They find Captain Marvel's been turned into a hologram. Also find Claw has been dissected. You get a lot of earthquakes going on because what occurs next is Doom's showdown with the Beyonder. And this panel, by the way, is dope. I really like this panel. This is really, really cool, with Doom facing the unknown against the Beyonder right here. The heroes try to get a feel for what's going on in the world outside, and all Reed's able to find is Galactus, and he makes a pretty good point here that if Doom has gains this much power, ironically enough, the hero's only hope of winning is actually to ally with Galactus. So you get a lot of twists and turns here. The rest of the crew goes over. Everyone's trying to sort of survive this earthquake. You have this, continuously annoying side plot with Colossus and Saji. It's pretty funny. It's pretty funny how Johnny Storm basically, when he it's brought up to him that the healer may be hurt, that he was kind of hooking up with. He kind of goes like, "Yeah, I don't really care." And Colossus gets all pissed off about it. So you get another explosion, and you can see this colossal titanic battle between and honestly really cool art concepts for what art was at the time in the 80s, right? Like, one thing that you can definitely point out is art got a lot better in the 90s and the 2000s in terms of the quality of what people were able to show. But if you think about it, fundamentally, the art here is showcasing what needs to be shown, right? And that's something to be said about art back in the 80s, right? So here, Doom is finding out that he's bit off a little bit more than he could chew, and he's basically getting annihilated by the Beyonder. So he has one last ploy up his hands, is while he still has his godlike powers, he's able to sort of generate a projection among the heroes. And he kind of tells them, hey, here's the deal. I've gained a bunch of powers, but at the end of the day, I'm not actually the bad guy. The bad guy is the Beyonder, and I am fighting him as your hero. So do me a solid here and help me out. It's obviously not said that well, but he's basically trying to convince the heroes to side with him against the Beyonder, and he almost convinces Magneto till the Avengers stop him. And then he kind of loses his focus at this point, because he's basically getting destroyed by the Beyonder. And then what follows is very, very fascinating. These last 2 pages right here. This is actually, in my opinion, probably the best part about this issue. Is Doom is completely destroyed. His plan was to use essentially an absorption device in his chest plate that would basically absorb all of the Beyonder's power and give it to him. The Beyonder, though, is kind of interested in Doom, so he kind of carries up his, essentially lifeless dead body, and he kind of probes his mind, and then you get essentially the backstory of Doom as written by Jim Shooter. And he starts to dissect him and break him apart and basically do like alien stuff to him. Doom wakes up, realizes what's going on, and with the last bit of his power reaches for his breastplate. And then what you see is sort of the unsaid result, right? So the world basically starts collapsing. This prison breaks up. You get a nice turnaround here with Wolverine and Captain America, where Wolverine was accusing Captain America of never really wanting to help out mutants or other people than your average good American. Here, Captain America is going into the danger to free the villains who would die in their cells if left there. And strangely enough, him and Wolverine work together to get. You get a pretty good point right here. I'm beginning to think you got room in your highfalutin ideals for all people, don't you? Even if they're mutants. And then Captain America replies, "Some of my best friends are people." Pretty good point right there. The heroes break out, and then they find the Beyonder has disappeared, and here comes Doom. Oh, like this is actually a pretty cool panel right here. And he shrinks down, and then you get this last point right here. The war is over. So Doom has successfully completed his ploy to use his breastplate to absorb the Beyonder's power, and now Doom is the ultimate power in the galaxy. Or the universe, I should say. Sorry, I was like thinking of Star Wars right there. So that's the issue right there. Fantastic issue. Absolutely love Doom in this issue. Honestly, as I said before, Jim Shooter really writes Dr. Doom the best out of all the villains, and it kind of shows right here. The heroes, he's kind of even-handed among all of them, trying to kind of get all of them their own time. Again, I think he's best with Spider-Man, the Avengers, and a little bit of the Fantastic Four. But really, this issue was all about Doom, which is why this was a very good issue, because Jim Shooter writes Doom very well. Anyhow, let's get to the art. So, kind of took a break today from backgrounds. It was just drawing characters. So I was kind of looking at the idea of proportions, right? So how do I get proportions right? And also, how do I kind of loosen up a little bit? This was kind of loose when I was going. I was kind of using more of a sort of really loose penciling technique to try to get Doom right here. And again, it ended up pretty well. Doom's okay. I'm not really super happy with the head. I think I could have done this a little better. I think his breast proportions are a little bit off. But overall, head to toe, I like the full proportions, and the pose is pretty cool too. And then on the 4 panels right here, I have the Avengers. We got Hulk, Captain America, Hawkeye. I almost drew him to be Thor, because I really wanted to draw Thor, but I was like, I haven't drawn Hawkeye this entire series, so I decided to draw Hawkeye instead. It ended up pretty shitty, but I actually am okay with Hulk. And then Captain America was actually all right. I think what happened here is I needed to draw outside the panel and then just erase over, because I think I wasn't getting the proportions right because of the size of the panel. In terms of the X-Men, it was okay. I mean, I don't know why I drew Wolverine like freaking Mobius Wolverine. Like the ridiculously weird angled flanges on his mask. Cyclops is okay. Storm is alright. Again, I'm not a huge 80s Storm fan. I kind of prefer her older costume. I'm not a fan of punk rocker Storm. I kind of prefer her costume from before, but that may be me. Again, Fantastic Four. I actually realized in my last video I'd never drew Reed Richards with like stretchy effects, right? So this time around I was like, yeah, let's make him stretch. So I had him all the way over here. Instead of like leaning over his head, I had him stretch over to wherever I wanted him to be. And then Spider-Man, of course, in his newer costume. Pretty fun drawing right here. It was just drawing people, so it was a lot more fun than backgrounds, which are a lot more frustrating, at least to me. But anyhow, that's the review. Let me know what you think. If you like this review, please hit the thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed. Hit the bell for notifications. You got any comments about Marvel Superheroes Secret Wars number 10 or this art? Leave it down below, and I will see you next time.